So, what a week, race fans. This was the week where everything was on the line. Over at the Paperclip, Martinsville Speedway, we saw a must win driver put on an absolute clinic to punch his ticket to Phoenix, while others saw their championship dreams end in heartbreak. We'll break down the unbelievable tiebreaker that decided one title shot and the engine trouble that actually has two top teams sweating heading into the finale. And on the dirt, as one series crowned its new king, the silly season exploded with two legendary teams passing the torch right on to the next generation of superstars. I'm Russ Fritz,
And I'm Nathan Johns.
and we're telling you to strap in tight because this isn't just racing. This is switching
Is
grooves.
Switching Grooves.
What do you think, Nate? Should we let him
Oh,
see
I'm
the
so
video? Should
let's
we let
let's
him
do
see
the
the video?
video.
All right,
Let's
here we
do the
go.
video.
Nathan.
Not much, Russ. How are you tonight?
Oh, not too bad. So you're glad to be back?
I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that I actually have some exciting news to talk about from the Championship 4, and not have to deal with Denny's drama. Well, we'll deal with that one later.
Well, I'll go ahead and get us going, man. We're gonna start off with NASCAR tonight, so
All
but,
right.
um, I don't know. There's not a lot of dirt going on, so but in the world of auto racing, Nathan, there are actually moments, weekends, and entire weeks that transcend the box score. They become defining chapters in season-long narratives where the pressure of championship crucibles actually forge legends and shatter dreams in equal measure. The period this week, well, was just that. One of the most consequential and dramatic weeks in recent memory. And at the legendary Martinsville Speedway, NASCAR's three National Series faced a brutal elimination test that actually set the stage for their championship finales. And in the heartland of American dirt racing, one series crowned its new king, while powerhouse teams actually signaled a major generational shift for the future. It is a week that reminded the fans why they watch for the raw emotion, the razor thin margins, and the unforgettable moments where seasons are won and lost. So, right on over to the Paperclips verdict, and NASCAR's Championship 4 have finally been set. What do you
Uh,
think?
um. Well, we all at this point we almost know who's going to win the Truck Series Championship, and it's pretty much down to what, one of two drivers for the Xfinity Series Championship. I'm going to make my picks now of the remaining four drivers. Currently for the Truck Series, we've got Corey Heim, Caden Honeycutt, and the Stuart Friesen 52. So that's kind of a feel good story. You got Ty Majeski, who Thor Sport hasn't won a race all year. So that's a little bit of a odd situation. And then Tyler Ankrum, you know, he's the one where I think is going to be the sneaky good truck, but I still don't think he's got, the Corey Heim level of, chance of winning. My pick for the Truck Series is going to be Corey Heim. I mean, it's kind of hard to not pick him. He's won everything in the kitchen sink this year. So that's my pick for the Truck Series. Xfinity Series, my pick's Connor Zilisch, but it's going to be a toss-up, I really feel like, between Connor Zilisch and Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier, as long as he doesn't have any bad luck, he's going to be just as good as Connor Zilisch. And Connor Zilisch, even though he's, kind of in a jack of all trades, I think he's got the best chance at, beating Allgaier, although Allgaier is not a slouch. He is definitely somebody who is, has a very good chance at winning the Xfinity Series Championship. I think he'll go back to back if Connor Zilisch has issues. If Connor Zilisch gets eliminated, it's going to be all Justin Allgaier. I really don't think, Kvapil has anything for him, and I really don't think Jesse Love is going to be much of a threat. But when it comes to the Cup Series, and this is my reasoning on this, I did my stats on, average finishes for the Cup Series, and really, Briscoe really isn't a threat. But when you look at the stats, Denny Hamlin is the highest average finish. I believe it's 10.8, or no, 10.6, and William Byron is a 10.8. Just above Kyle Larson, who's at 10.85, which is kind of a really close number. I really think that Hamlin's got a good chance. I'm just hoping that JGR, curse just keeps, holding the JGR cars back. I'd love for William Byron to win. He's my pick after coming off, the win at Martinsville. But I really don't want Denny Hamlin to win the championship. Nothing against the dude, but if you've seen the podcast, you know my opinions on him. All I have to say is he is the Buffalo Bills of NASCAR. Every year has been his year. He's cocky as can be. Maybe once in a while, good things do happen. Maybe once a year, there is the silver lining of when you're absolutely cocky as can be, bad things happen.
I don't think there are a lot of people on that list that do not want to
There's
see.
a lot of people that don't like Denny Hamlin. I mean,
They don't ever want to see him win a championship, dude.
I think the biggest name on that list is NASCAR itself, because it's going to be really awkward when you have to hand the championship trophy to the guy who's suing you. That'll be a really awkward situation on stage. So, to avoid the awkwardness, I do think that would be highly funny that if he doesn't win, so they don't have to, pursue that awkwardness, and then just to turn around and have him sue them, a month later. That's just my 2 cents on it. I think that'd be hilarious, if they don't have to avoid that.
All
Or if they
right,
have to avoid that.
let's back up though, and let's go to this weekend. There's no
I got a little off track.
There's no track in NASCAR quite like Martinsville. The half-mile short track, affectionately known as the paperclip, is actually a cauldron of chaos where a place where bumpers are actually used pretty frequently.
I like your wording there.
And
Cauldron of chaos.
Tempers flare big time under those Virginia lights. So serving as the final elimination race for all three of NASCAR's top series, it represents the last unforgiving hurdle before the championship race at Phoenix. It's a venue that demands survival as much as speed, a place where a single mistake can actually erase a year's worth of work, and where the line between advancing and going home is often measured in inches. So I don't know, man.
I will say this is one of the tamest Martinsville fall races I think I've seen in quite some time. I wanted to make note of that. That was probably the tamest version of the cutoff race I've ever seen.
I'm gonna give mine so you could do your rant. I'll do mine first, and you can do your rant
Okay.
because I know how you like to go on. So I keep mine brief.
It was very tame. Is really my thoughts on that race.
I'm gonna go to the Cup Series first. So Byron's masterclass though was a must-win pressure cooker, man. For Byron and Ryan Blaney, the equation entering the Xfinity 500 was actually brutally simple. Win, and you're in the championship four. Anything less, and your season's basically over. With two of the top drivers in the Premier Series facing a must-win scenario, though, the tension was palpable from the green flag dropping, really.
Oh yeah.
And what followed though was Byron putting on a master class. When he started from the pole, He dominated the entire race. He led 304 of 500
Yes,
laps, and
304 of 500.
and he swept stage 1 and 2 along with winning the race. It was actually a statement, a huge statement of of intent, uh, of performance, and it left absolutely no doubt about who had the car to beat.
It was the
Blaney,
first modern driver to do it too.
but to be honest, Blaney, who actually started way back at 31st, I mean, he worked his way through the field like God knows what, and took control of the race for 177 laps,
I believe
and
that's right.
it set up a really good battle there at the end. It was actually kind of exciting. And I mean, the championship hopes of both drivers came down to a single move. 43 laps. With 43 laps left, Byron actually saw an opportunity and he just dove to the inside and put the bumper to Blaney, moved him out of the way, and took the lead for good. That was it. It was what would you want to say? It was more of he took the gloves off, man. They were the gloves came
Took
off, and
took
that
the
was it.
gloves off and played gingerbread man and just ran for his life.
But that's Martinsville.
It
Martinsville
is.
is famous for aggressive but clean enough driving that even Blaney had no hard feelings, which was surprising, and graciously congratulated Byron in victory lane, and not him in victory lane, obviously.
I will say
But
he definitely played that off because based off the radioactive, he was not so friendly on the radio.
so Byron held on through the final restart and actually claimed his third win of the season, and he moves on to Phoenix. And that set off a frantic points calculation for the final spot, though. And his teammate Kyle Larson secured that with a fifth place finish and advanced by only 7 points over Bell, who finished seventh. So the elimination of defending series champion Joey Logano was music to my ears. And it also brought an end to Penske's impressive 3-year streak of winning the title. And that is a significant shift in power in the garage
There
for the
is no
Penske.
four-peat. There
Um,
will be no four-peat.
a far more ominous story, though, was for the two drivers who entered the day with no pressure. Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe were already locked in, but they suffered engine failures. And Hamlin's engine let go, and he was actually running second. And that's actually his third mechanical issue of the playoffs, not just the season, but the playoffs.
I
And
think it's more than that, if I remember correctly. He had 3 this round, but I thought there was more earlier in the season too.
so Briscoe's
Toyota's had a bad year
expired.
for that.
Briscoe's also expired, and this double failure for JGR's championship point contenders in the points are just systematically reliability crisis at the worst possible time. Um, the development actually reframes the entire championship battle at Phoenix, where JGR's biggest hopes are just that the damn engines don't fail on them while they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my 2 cents, but what do you think?
I I still think that JGR has a little bit of worrying to do when it comes to Phoenix. That's why I'm leaning more towards Hendrick versus Hendrick. But, you know, we still have our own problems as it is. I mean, even though William Byron denied the Penske four-peat, we still got to worry about Spire Motorsports and their awkward Monday meeting after Martinsville. Now, I'm kind of curious to see if any news reports come next week. Um, I definitely think that there is a lot of turmoil on the JGR engine department, but I do think Chevy has their own problems. Um, I don't. There was reports earlier this week that Spire signed Daniel Suarez to the 7 car for the 2026. I will say that is a good to see him back in the Cup Series. But apparently Suarez is making himself all too much at home, as on lap 216 he made contact with Carson Hocevar and sent Hocevar for a spin. And then later on the race on lap 298, he sent Hocevar again. And to set up the final restart, Carson Hocevar's current teammate, Michael McDowell, sent Hocevar spinning one more time to set up the final restart on lap 483. And the post-race interview from Jeff Gordon basically sums up the week for Spire Motorsports. There were so many incidents where it was Spire on Spire violence that people lost count of how many times those cars went spinning, which was honestly kind of funny that they commented on it the way they did, because they do come out of Hendrick engines. But yeah, it's pretty bad when the people that are supposed to be helping you or not causing chaos are the ones that are bringing out the final caution and making things even more stressful. That was a funny moment in the post-race interview. But
Tell
yeah,
you
I
though,
go
I
ahead.
would love to be a fly on the wall when
Oh,
that
me
first
too.
meeting happens next season for Spire.
I just want to be a fly on the wall for the Christmas party. I think that'll be the funniest thing ever when this season's over. Because if I'm not mistaken, McDowell and Hocevar have tangled earlier this season. If I'm not mistaken, it was Watkins Glen on the
Who
final lap.
hasn't tangled with Hosafar this year,
But they're
dude?
teammates. That's what makes it even funnier. Is there's so much turmoil at Spire right now that people are almost accustomed to it. Hocevar is running people over left and right, which he's got talent. He just got to harness it. I mean, I feel for the kid, but he's been run over so many times. He looks like Ross Chastain 2.0 almost. Or if he's not aggressive, he's getting run over. There's no happy medium. It's kind of comical how many times that scenario
except
fits.
except I think Gregson would actually whoop Hosavar's ass.
Oh, I don't know. I still
Rather
think
than the Chastain, Chastain would have kicked Gregson's ass, dude. I'm
the
sorry, but that was
Chastain bowl cut uh, impact was probably the funniest. I almost call it cartoon style fight ever. I mean, Chastain hit him so hard it made his bowl cut spin around his head. I kind of want to see what would happen with Carson Hocevar, but at the same time, I think Carson Hocevar will be more of a keyboard warrior than a fight on pit road. I don't think I've ever seen Carson Hocevar get violent on pit road. Noah Gragson be one I could see doing it. I can't see Carson Hocevar getting out of his car and go to fight somebody. That's more of a Noah Gragson style.
the
I
last
honestly think Noah Gragson would whoop Carson Hocevar's butt.
the last off-track aggressive guy that we've really seen actually get really aggressive other than Tony Stewart would be Kevin Harvick. And I actually watched one of his podcasts here recently where he actually admitted that that was all he did all that on purpose. Especially when a race didn't go bad and somebody took him out or whatever. It was all intentional to help his brand. He did it all on purpose so he could still give his brand the attention that they paid for in
I,
sponsoring their race car.
I honestly wonder, and this is going back a few weeks, I wonder if RCR was taking notes when he ran over the, was it the JGR crew with his own rental car? Sounds like something staring at a Days of Thunder, which still makes me laugh that
Well,
we got a real life reenactment of that during the Xfinity race. And we'll get to that here shortly.
who was it this week that drove off with the gas can and the gas man?
Oh, I missed that one. I don't remember seeing that one.
I
I'll have to go back and look through that. I
I
missed
thought
that
it was
moment.
this week. It might have been a previous race, but
I know.
I thought
I know. Recently, they've been using the tire changer as a brick wall to keep the pit crew members and the gas can in the pit stall, which I will say is a pretty smart idea until you get the big man come flying at you and take out the tire carrier. Those are the moments that you go, wonder how that one's going to play out.
But I could have swore while I was watching the race when
I'll have to go back and look. I missed it.
right before they cut to a commercial. You know how they'll show little highlights of the race really fast. I could have swore they showed that
I'll have to
as
go
one of
back
the
and look through
highlights.
the full race replay.
But yeah, that was like crazy. I wonder what kind of penalty they got for that. You
Usually,
pull.
it's taking equipment out of the box type of thing.
What about taking a
That's
crew
all it
member
is.
with it though?
That usually just counts as it's the gas can, which
Is that a double penalty for taking it with it?
I don't know about a double penalty, but I mean multiple penalties. Cody Ware's getting up there with multiple penalties. What, 9 loose wheel penalties this year alone? I
So
mean, that's pretty funny.
speaking of penalties, let's do the penalty report per series as we're going down the list, not all of them at once. So what about penalties that have come out for Cup? Any?
Yeah, Cody Ware lost 2 pit crew members for losing his 9th wheel on the year. So I guess that's not really a new penalty. It's just a weekly occurrence at this rate. So
9?
that's the only penalty I've seen for the Cup Series. I believe Tommy Baldwin made that statement on the Door Over Clear podcast this week. That's the 9th penalty they've had this year.
Wow.
Which
9.
you would think you'd find a way to secure the wheels after, I don't know, the first 4 that are on the car.
They must have
You've
like
basically doubled the amount you've had on the car.
with 9. I mean, damn,
They're going to run out of pit crew members.
they must have a rotating pool of tire changers and carriers, dude. Like
I can't even figure out, and some of them have been on tracks. You lose them for multiple weeks. I feel like that's one every race.
that's crazy, man.
That's insane to me because he just came back this year after being suspended for a while. I mean, his comments on the radio made it really funny. This is such a clown show. You drive for your dad's team. Don't expect miracles. I hate to say that, but I mean, Cody Ware really doesn't have any room to talk. The team itself is a clown show. Don't expect anything more if you're going to drive like a clown. It kind of gives off the same energy, and it still makes me laugh that he made the comments, but yet they're the laughing stock of how many different memes and how many radio actives. I mean, it's eventually it'll set in that that's how it's going to be. But that's the only one I had for the Cup Series.
All
Xfinity
right,
Series is a whole other story.
so moving over to the Xfinity Series, Gray's redemption amidst the playoff chaos. I don't even know, but while the Cup Series race was actually a very strategic duel, if you'll say, the Xfinity Series race was actually a chaotic scramble, and it was defined by redemption and what do you say, a heart-stopping finish. So the headline belonged to Taylor Gray, who actually drove the Joe Gibbs Toyota to his first NASCAR victory, Xfinity
Redemption
victory, I'll
after the
say.
spring.
The win was, I don't know what you want to call it, to him,
Redemption.
probably especially sweet, as it actually came at the same track where he had a run-in with Sammy Smith in the spring.
Who
But this
finished
time,
second after all this? Deja vu. What the
yeah,
heck?
I was just getting ready to say this time he held off Smith, and in a clean overtime battle, he captured the emotional win. So uh, the real drama was actually unfolding behind him, though. The battle for the final spot was devolved into chaos. Carson Kvapil, and actually one of the title favorites, actually seemed to have the season end on his. Excuse me. He seemed to have his season end on lap 227, and when he was collected in a spin and sent him to the back of the pack. And what came after was a drive that actually personified the survive and advance ethos of the NASCAR playoffs. So he restarted 30th with just a few laps remaining and drove with, let's say, controlled desperation. and he
Without
sliced
using the wall.
and he sliced and diced through the field, actually finished 18th. So that was an incredible charge. And it was just enough that he actually secured the final championship berth by a mere 4 points over Brandon Jones
That's
and 5
crazy.
points over Smith. Now, Kvapil's comeback was a testament to high pressure of the elimination format. So the final four is actually now set, and that actually features what, three junior motorsports teammates.
3 junior
Kvapil,
motorsports and an RCR.
so as you got Kvapil, Zilich, and Allgaier
Against
battling RCR's Jesse Love for the title. So
which this isn't the first time we've seen this from juniors motorsports. Unfortunately, the last time that happened, JGR won with Ty Gibbs. So
well, the
hopefully
emotion
the
of
odds are in their favor this time.
the emotion of the night though was perfectly captured after the checkered flag when an eliminated Sam Mayer showed his frustration by spinning out Jeb Burton on the cooldown lap.
Shades of Days of Thunder.
Yeah, that's that was pretty interesting. So
I will say his post race interview, if you haven't seen it yet, you should probably go watch. If I was going to do something really stupid after the checkered flag, I would not give an interview the way I gave that Sam Mayer gave an interview. If you're going to try to avoid suspension, don't essentially admit to cleaning him out after the checkered flag. I mean, it was pretty funny when he gave the post race interview to Front Stretch Motorsport or French Stretch, Front Stretch Media, I think it is. Yeah, he gave an interview to them, basically admitting cleaning out Jeb Burton. And then when NASCAR interviewed him, his tune changed very quickly. To the extent of if you watch the NASCAR interview first, you have no idea what he's talking about, but you can still tell he's really mad at Jeb Burton. But it was almost like an apologetic interview for what he said in the prior interview, rather than apologizing to Jeb Burton for essentially taking him, to the railroad tracks. I mean, I feel for Sam as he's still learning. But dude, you have no business being in the Cup Series with interviews and actions like that. This all started supposedly from Sam Mayer at Talladega when Jeb Burton caused a big pileup in the tri-oval and Sam Mayer happened to be collected. Just kind of an innocent bystander. So, rather than make the most of your day, go into Martinsville, try to, win the race. And I guess there was a bad interaction between Jeb Burton and Sam Mayer. And rather than, Sam Mayer focus on trying to get the best points day, he sends Jeb Burton for a ride in turn one. Well, that did not exactly please Jeb Burton. So Jeb Burton spins him around for another caution. Well, finally, after the race, Sam Mayer's had enough and kind of just drives down into turn one, kind of looking like Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano. Just turns the 27 into the outside wall, just hard right, hooks the left rear, spins them both around backwards. They both hit into the outside wall. If I was at, Haas Automated Racing, whatever the heck they want to call it, if NASCAR didn't suspend you, I'd be making you sit at least until the car is fixed, which would probably be until next season. I really don't know what, Haas is thinking, having him in the car, especially after that. Fortunately, NASCAR didn't give them the opportunity because Sam Mayer has been suspended for Phoenix. But if I was Sam Mayer sponsors, I'd be gone. I wouldn't even want to be on board of a ride like that. That has some major tantrum vibes right there. I mean, it's pretty bad when you get eliminated and you just go clean out the guy that was racing hard. I mean, it's, as Denny Hamlin says about Joey Logano, short track racing. It's short track racing. If you don't want to get bumped out of the way, don't be in the way. Maybe, if he's faster, let him go. When it comes time, pay him back later to where, maybe it, doesn't affect you. Sounds kind of like the William Byron thing. You bump Ryan Blaney and you run like hell. Sam Mayer could have played this a lot differently. He chose the route that he did. That's kind of what happens. So honestly, I don't feel bad for Sam Mayer. I mean, that's little kid actions, tantrum style. I believe he even gave the quote of Jeb doesn't have the it factor. He has the shit factor. Yeah, that definitely makes it sound like it was intentional. He's got a lot of room for improvement. Definitely needs to take some Denny Hamlin interview courses, maybe some Kyle Busch or Ty Gibbs interview classes, because that's not how you want to respond to an interview after you purposely clean someone out or, try not to get penalized by NASCAR. No monetary fine, which is a little surprising. But, yeah, they did park Sam Mayer for Phoenix this week. So, no Sam Mayer in the 41 car. So, wonder who we'll put in that car this week.
Pretty sure if they'll even field it. I mean, they may just leave it at the shop.
I mean, that would be very interesting because he is still in the running, I believe, for the points, the owner points, I believe. So that's going to be a massive hit to the owner points because he's not in the race. So very interesting. I do have one more update for anybody wanting an update on the San Diego course. I was on the pre-order list or pre-sale list today. I will tell you, if you have not bought your tickets yet, be prepared for the sticker shock. I was discussing this with Russ earlier.
Yeah.
When we went online to purchase our tickets during the pay window, they are in blocks of 2, and they are $400 a piece, not per set, per seat. So essentially, if you pay the deposit for one seat, you're gonna pay $400. But most people bought $50 worth of deposit, which is 2 seats. You're gonna be looking at like $800 without any upgrades for your seats. I believe it was like $873 before applying the credits, which is absolutely insane. They are sold in pairs, obviously, and they're going about approximately $400 each. I think it was like $399.88, I think is what it was for tickets prior to tax and everything. I have seen reports that the suites are going anywhere from $1,000 to $3,500, and that does not include add-ons. That does not include the commemorative tickets or the scanner rentals, which is absolutely insane. I did the math. So the minimum amount of people is 12 people. So if you were to get a suite, you're going to be paying about $300 a person for, one suite. So if you get 12 people, they're going to pay a little under $300 a person to fill that suite. And that's a minimum, which is absolutely insane. But at the same time, it is still less than what it was for the Chicago Street Course, funny enough.
Let's keep paying for it.
I am shocked that at that rate it's that high, but it is still cheaper than going to Chicago Street Course. Because if I remember correctly, that was like $500 for the general admission tickets, but you've got a concert going on. I will say I did see reports about the San Diego race. There is, as long as you have a ticket, you have access to the base, but you do not have it for Friday because that is specifically for the truck race, and that'll be for service members and their families, which is kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it is, kind of nice that NASCAR is going to make it strictly for family members and service members. So that is
And
kind of
here
cool to see that.
and here I thought I was crazy for paying $50 for a pit pass to a dirt race.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's gonna be an interesting bill for this race. I will say that. The only good thing about the tickets that I bought, and it didn't occur to me at the time, and hopefully the rendering is correct. But at the time, I was trying to purchase tickets semi near the start finish line just because I really didn't want to be out by the coast. You know, just didn't really seem like somebody I want to be because of the sun. It didn't occur to me that the front stretch is technically east to west. It's not, shaded at all. So I didn't think that one through, but it didn't occur to me. Apparently, if you buy tickets along the front stretch, you will be right behind pit road, which is kind of cool. I hadn't thought about that one. I'm kind of excited to see how those are because I've never done that before. Be behind pit road in the grandstand, so it's going to be kind of exciting to see that.
I think
But
your wife will really
also,
like that too.
also $800 to sit behind pit road. That is the equivalent of a hot pass and a half. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe I can
It's
justify it, but
and being on the backside of the pits is like totally different than being on the front. And I I know that you've done it before, you've seen it before, well, you and I, but I think it's really going to be an interesting
it's
experience for
kind of
you.
like it is at Indy. Apparently, Indianapolis has grandstands behind pit road. So I've kind of always wanted to experience that. The only time I've ever experienced it, not as a crew member, was walking behind the fence at the old Pocono when they had, the fence during pre race. You could walk along the fence in the infield. Even Daytona has it where if you got infield passes, you could walk along the fence and see behind pit crews, but you never actually got to be like high up to do it unless you were like in the garage, which I'm kind of excited to see how that looks. At the same time, I know it's going to be probably ridiculously hot because I don't know if that is covered. I know the infield part of the front stretch is all suites the entire way from turn 16 down to turn 1. So there is way more grandstands in the rendering or in the actual ticket map than there is in the rendering. All that whole front stretch, as far as I can tell, are all suites. So everything on the outside of the track, basically near the parking lots, is all going to be grandstands, which is
Uh,
way more than they had in the rendering that NASCAR released, which is kind of nice.
I know that I know that you get excited for it, but I'm gonna tell you, your wife is gonna be like super excited for this race. I can already see it.
We've
Like,
never been to the West Coast before, so I am kind of excited to be able to explore a different state. I've never been west of Texas, so this is going to be something very exciting for me. This is also where her dad was stationed, so it's going to be kind of nice to have that full circle moment of going out there. Just recently, she lost her dad, so it's going to be kind of nice to go back out there and kind of pay our respects, while we're at the race. So I'm kind of excited to go out for that. Really excited for the race, but I think I'm more excited to go out there just to kind of say, hey, I've been to California. You know, I'm on the fence. The more I learn about this race, the more I'm kind of about it. Like I bought tickets, yeah. There's still a lot of up in the air about the details,
you're
but
screwed
I'm
now.
kind of excited. I'm screwed now unless
You're
somebody decides
stuck.
they want to buy them out. But
But
I don't really have any intention of selling them out unless you give me a really good offer.
let's move on to the truck series. So it was actually a historic season for Heim and a tiebreaker heartbreak. Um, this season in the truck series for Heim has been nothing short of historic, and his performance at Martinsville only added to the legend. He What did he do? He extended his own series record with his 11th win of the season and swept both stages and was in a class all of his own. And that actually cemented his status in or as the favorite to win the championship in the Truck Series. He had the entire garage holding its breath, I'll say. And it was actually an unbelievable battle for the final spot. Caden Honeycutt, who took over the 52 this mid-season, was or is a substitute for Stuart Friesen now. He actually drove the race of his life and finished a career best second. That actually put him in a dead heat in the standings with Lane Riggs, who finished third, and the tie was broken by the best finish in the round, meaning that Honeycutt's runner-up result was actually the single point that propelled him into the championship four, and that eliminated Riggs in the most gut-wrenching way imaginable. So the outcome for him was just a brutal illustration of a butterfly effect that you can get in motorsports. Um, the single momentary lapse actually for him, he missed a shift on the restart on lap 29, and that cost him a ton of track position and ultimately the one spot on the track that he actually needed to advance. So the result actually set up a compelling David versus Goliath style narrative, and that is for going into the championship at Phoenix. Heim is a juggernaut on a historic tear, and he'll face off against Majeski, Ankrum, and Honeycutt, and the ultimate underdog who actually clawed his way into the final on the tiebreaker. Just my thoughts.
I have a fun fact about this year's playoffs, and I didn't really catch this until after the fact. But if you want a real David versus Goliath story out of these playoffs, there is only one Ford in the entire NASCAR playoff system in general. You know, Cup
Yeah,
Series
that's
has
true.
2 Toyotas and 2 Chevys. So we've got 2 and 2. Then you've got, the 2 Toyotas in the Truck Series, a Ford, and a Chevy. So we've got what? 4, and then you got, 4, 3, and 1. And then you've got all 4 of the Xfinity Series are all Chevys. So you're up to what? 7 Chevys, 4 Toyotas, and a Ford. I think I did the math right there. But either way, it's pretty bad when you can't get a single Ford in the playoff, and the only guy in the playoff who drives a Ford has yet to win a race this year. I don't think Tyler Ankrum won a race, but still, it's been a lousy year for Ford. I was kind of surprised by it. Back to the Cup Series for a second. During that race, I was genuinely concerned that Ryan Blaney was going to three-peat Martinsville and just drive his way through the field, and it was going to be the same song, different verse, all over again. So the fact that when William Byron eliminated Ryan Blaney from the championship, it put a whole new spin on, manufacturer dominance. I mean, Toyota obviously has dominated the Truck Series. Chevy has dominated the Xfinity Series with, Connor Zilisch. I mean, had he won everything from the Charlotte Roval down to Phoenix, he would have broken Kyle Busch's single season record of, I believe it's 12 races, 12 race wins in a single year. I think the best he could finish now, I think, is 2 races short of that. I think at 9. I believe that's right. But either way, he was had he won out the rest of the season, he would have broken Kyle Busch's record if he won at Phoenix. Now, granted, Talladega and Martinsville are probably the worst tracks for him to do it at, which would have been a real stretch. But I think had he pulled those races off, he could have very easily set a record for the Xfinity Series. And I don't think this is the last time we'll talk about Connor Zilisch. I really think Connor Zilisch is going to be a force to be reckoned with next year or Trackhouse. I honestly think he is going to give SVG a run for his money. And if he is not, I would even say in the championship 4 next year, take it one step further, or at least 2 steps further than SVG. I think this is going to be a historic year for Trackhouse in 2026 if he can continue the dominance he had in the Xfinity Series. Yes, they are 2 different cars, but I really think that when it comes to road courses, Connor Zilisch is going to absolutely wax the field when it comes to road courses. He may go all the way with road courses because I know SVG didn't win COTA. So if he can perform the way he did on road courses in the Cup Series, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Cup Series on ovals, which SVG is getting close. So I can only imagine how that's going to play out.
Now, going back though, I just remembered something that we were discussing earlier, um, off camera. This, what was it? Gray being suspended indefinitely?
I am. I'm
Are you
still looking
still
for
looking into that?
research on this. There
Okay.
was something about Shane Gray, which I cannot confirm the details on this. There was a Shane Gray on the penalty report, was suspended indefinitely due to conduct during the NASCAR race. It does not say what team he is with or what the conduct was, but he has been indefinitely suspended from NASCAR. From the research I've done so far, it does believe that he is related to Tanner and Taylor Gray, which Taylor Gray won the Xfinity race. So it is very possible that their dad, Shane Gray, was indefinitely suspended by NASCAR. I am a little curious on what that was. Hopefully, we'll get some sort of details, somewhere. But
What's up, Matt?
definitely an interesting addition to the list. I was trying to see who Matt was. Oh, I didn't see that comment at first. I was so confused. Oh, there it is. But I'm still trying to look for details on that one. It was on the penalty report along with Cody Ware and Sam Mayer's suspension. But that'll be a developing story that I'm going to try to do a little bit more research on. But from what I understand, it is possibly Taylor and Tanner Gray's family member, because it does report that there is a Shane Gray related to Tanner and Taylor Gray, which I was unaware, but apparently Taylor Gray and Tanner Gray came from an NHRA background, which is kind of interesting. I never knew that.
That's just crazy. I couldn't. It's like unbelievable that they suspend somebody, but they don't even tell us like who he's associated with
Well,
or why he's
normally
suspended.
they don't. Normally they don't, unless it is a crew member suspension during the race. You normally don't find out about those. Sometimes they are, failing a drug test or a substance abuse thing. Sometimes it even happens outside the track. I mean, I know at
I'm
one point Cody Ware was suspended for not, you know, he did something outside of court, outside of the races, and got suspended. So sometimes it is even, come up during the race. Sometimes it's just something that happens outside of the race weekend. And when NASCAR finds out about it, they penalize you. It's very possible that that happened prior to the race. It may not have happened at the race, but it was a NASCAR code of conduct violation, and he was indefinitely suspended. For all we know, there may be an investigation going on that we just don't know about. It could be a substance abuse thing, or he had cold medicine and he tested positive for alcohol in his system. It could be anything of that nature. Um, but we'll have to wait and see if there's any more details. Currently, as of this recording, it only came out like 3 or 4 hours ago. So there really wasn't a whole lot of details available at that time. And I currently don't have a whole lot of details on it.
so. With all that said, though, I'll move on to my dirt track drama.
I know Matt's getting excited for that. I can see
And
he's already asking about Donnie.
so, with a champion crowned, a legacy continued. away from the paved ovals of NASCAR. The heartland of America was buzzing with the high-octane drama of winning sprint car racing. It was a week of definitive conclusions and exciting new beginnings as one major series actually crowned its champion, while powerhouse teams actually made some blockbuster announcements about their futures. So, as we know, the king was crowned. Rico Abreu was the 2025 high limit champion in a season-long battle for the title. And that actually came to a thrilling conclusion at Texas Motor Speedway, with the season actually officially celebrated at the championship awards banquet in Fort Worth just the night after the final race. It's crazy, but I do like how they just do it and get it done. So Abreu actually won both features during the final weekend at Texas. He clinched his first ever National Touring Series title and had an incredible season, winning 13 times in 51 races, and actually came home with a $250,000 championship bonus. But I've talked enough about that the last couple of shows, so I'm just going to get on to the passing of the torch, where we have a new generation taking the wheels. At the end of this year, it's going to mark a major shift in the sprint car world, with two of the sport's top teams actually announcing new drivers for 2026. And that's signaling a true passing of the torch to the next generation. Daison Pursley will be joining Kasey Kahne Racing, and Kasey Kahne Racing is actually one of the most decorated teams in sprint car racing history. They made a blockbuster announcement that they will be hiring Daison Pursley to actually take over for the retiring Brad Sweet. Okay, before everybody hits me up, the full-time retiring Brad Sweet. Um, Following news, though, of that, KKR actually named 21-year-old Daison Pursley as their new driver. And that car will still be a Napa Auto Parts sponsored car, but it will become the number 9 car. So, but Pursley's actually a rising star from Locust Grove, Oklahoma. He's fresh off of a stellar rookie campaign with the High Limit Tour, and he actually won the Rookie of the Year. He captured his first series victory at Lernerville and finished 7th in the standings. So the move actually represents a calculated, forward-looking investment by KKR, betting on a young driver like Pursley and his immense potential to actually become one of the sport's next superstars. Pursley said, what did he say? He said he was super excited, and he was actually very grateful for the opportunity. And according to him, in his words, to drive for Kasey Kahne and everyone at KKR is actually a dream come true. So Kasey Kahne, though, actually praised Pursley's talent and his drive, noting the similarities between the young driver and the young Brad Sweet, who's actually had a fiery passion, and that actually is what inspired Kasey Kahne to hire him years ago, 18 to be exact. Kasey said his drive, goals, and talent are aligned with KKR and our partners. We look forward to doing big things together. Pursley's journey is actually one of racing's most inspiring. He won the 2024 USAC National Midget title just 3 years after a crash left him with a severe spinal cord injury. And I believe that was the one where he fell out of the car, if you remember that. But I believe that was while Richard was still on Switchin Grooves.
Yeah, I don't
Because
remember that one.
we showed the clip of it happening, and people were pissed at us. I mean, I got all kinds of emails and messages, and people were just pissed. And it's like, okay, we're not the only ones to do it. But anyway, and Spencer Bayston is getting a second chance with Stenhouse Jr. Marshall Racing next year. And that silly season development was announced around this, maybe not around the same time, but maybe within a few days of Pursley being announced. And he'll actually take over the number 17 NOS Energy Drink sprint car that Sheldon Haudenschild is leaving. And yes, the car is going to remain number 17. I did watch an interview with uh, the owners of that car. It's going to remain the NOS car. It's going to remain 17. So, no, nothing's really changing there except the driver. Basin will actually be paired with crew chief Kyle Pruitt, who's already on the car, or working on the car, I should say. The massive opportunity for him, though, is a career lifeline. After he was released from Jason Myers Racing in August, his future on the tour was actually uncertain. And he has been on a tear in select races since, though. He's got five top fives in the last 9 starts, including a runner-up at the Trophy Cup and a photo finish loss to David Gravel in the Dennis Roth Classic. This new ride actually gives Bayston a chance to prove he can translate that recent speed into the consistent top-level performance required to compete with the World of Outlaws. And the new pairing will actually make their debut at World Finals in Charlotte. So they'll be putting the second car together for him to run in a couple of weeks at Charlotte. And the Outlaws had to battle Mother Nature again, and they lost. So that kind of sucked. But that was what, an 81 Speedway that got washed out. That was announced like 3 days before it even was to
Yeah,
happen.
that was a weird rain out. I did notice that one.
Yeah, that was crazy. And that was supposed to be the Jason Johnson Classic. And both races got canceled. I mean, they canceled them way ahead of time. And it was actually really, really disappointing for fans. I mean, there was a lot of people wanting to go to that. Despite the rainouts, though, the championship battle is still raging on. I mean, it's pretty much going to be Gravels. He's leading. Colfoyd mathematically has a chance, but like we've said in previous shows, that's just not likely. It's just not going to happen. I mean, with the consistency and the speed of both of those teams and the talent of both of those drivers, it's not feasible. I don't see it happening. But mathematically, they have to say it and put it out there that it is possible. As for Donnie's shots, I don't have anything in my notes, and I haven't heard anything. It's actually been pretty quiet, at least for me. Do I see him retiring? I mean, there's talk about it, but I don't see him retiring. Not this way. I mean, by getting fired and having to piece rides together to finish out a season, I do not see Donnie retiring that way. The talk was that there was supposed to be a second car for big game next year, putting him in the car as a teammate to David Gravel. That's why he was going there for a few weeks, a few races, whatever it was supposed to be. But I'm not sure if that has gone by the wayside because of what did happen. Because he only ran one race, and he didn't even make the show. I mean, he crashed out in like hot laps or the heat race or whatever. So, um, but I do see him having a ride somewhere. Is it going to be a top tier ride? I mean, only time will tell. But as far as the retirement talks, which is the big thing right now, I just don't see that happen. Uh, Nani's not going to be in the Kasey Kahne 9 car, unless you were referring to me talking about Daison.
I was
Daison
trying to
maybe
see if
not.
I could find anything, and I haven't found anything on my end about Donnie Schatz's ride for 2026. I haven't seen anything currently.
I mean, it's a possibility that Kasey could throw him in a car too and bring back the 3-car team that he had at one time. But I don't know if Kasey wants to put the money and an investment into something that's not going to be very long term. Whereas Daison Pursley is young and, it could end up like Brad Sweet with him for 18 plus years. And I think that's what a lot of these teams are. Now, there's also a possibility now that Pursley's leaving the Book 13, maybe they give Donnie a call because they tend to switch drivers periodically and more frequently than some of the other bigger teams. I mean, Peck was in the car for what, 3 years, 2, 3 years, and they pushed him out to bring Pursley in. Maybe things are working out with Jason's sides, and Jason and his team want to put more money in, and they keep him around. I mean, you just never know. He seems to be enjoying it there, the most out of any of them. From all of the information that I have gathered, he's really, really enjoying his time with Jason Sides Motorsports. So that I could see as a huge possibility, along with Book maybe giving him a call if they don't prefer to move on and invest in a younger driver. But I did plan another show later on strictly about the possibilities of each of these cars. So I'll probably save most of that for that episode and not get into it so deep here tonight because we are getting a little low on time. But that's just my take on Donnie Schatz. I believe he'll be in a car. I really do see Sides keeping him around as one of the biggest possibilities. And it's probably the most, what do you want to call it? It's probably the most likely option, especially if he's enjoying it there. So, and you got to be able to enjoy being with your team along with, enjoying what you do. And if you're not enjoying one or the other, or it's it's kind of tough. I mean, if you don't enjoy driving the car because the car sucks or the crew sucks and they just don't know how to work on a damn car and get it going for you, you're not going to be happy. If the team isn't happy with you, it's going to make you miserable. If you're just not happy, it's just not going to be worth it. You got to be happy with your team, and you got to be happy with the way you're performing. So, yeah, that's what I heard. That was the other big possibility. So I see those two. The big game, a second big game slash lunch car. Um, Along with possibly staying at sides. Those are the two most likely possibilities, if you ask me. I do not see retirement like a lot of people are saying, especially in this manner. A guy like Donnie Schatz, who is a 10-time World of Outlaws champion, is not going to go out the way that this season went down. There's just no way. You know, eh, he's got a lot more pride than that, and he deserves to go out in a better manner. Maybe after next year, okay, run a full season with a good team, perform well. But I mean, I feel Donnie still has a lot to give, But and I don't think that his talent has really faded off like some people do. I believe that the relationship with Tony Stewart and him is what was kind of bringing that entire team down. And that's not to say anything bad about either one of them. But when you're paired together that long and you're actually really good friends going into that deal rather than becoming friends during that deal, it makes it kind of tough, you know. And then with the crew guys getting, or especially crew chiefs getting to be slim pickings that actually know what the hell they're doing, that's another thing. I mean, Donnie fired a couple of good crew chiefs. I mean, Ricky Warner, which is Rico Abreu's crew chief, and he won races and championships with Ricky. So, but for some reason, he wasn't happy with him, so he got rid of him. I mean, you're just switching people like you're changing underwear, and that doesn't work. So maybe it's time for him to be with a team where he doesn't get to make all of those calls himself, on top of being the driver too. You know, that puts a lot of pressure on the driver, because Tony said it in the interview that they had with him, that he pretty much let Donnie run the show and he just stepped back. So Donnie had to do everything. And when a driver has to go out and perform on a weekly basis and try to win races, try to win that money, try to provide for his sponsors, and run the entire business behind the scenes, including, paying the bills and hiring crew and making sure everything is kept up, parts are ordered, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that is a huge, huge burden on top of trying to go out and do your actual job. And that can drag a person down. I've been there before. I know what it's like. So believe me when I say that. And I think that is what went wrong at TSR. I don't think that Donnie has faded off in means of his talent whatsoever. So I still think Donnie has a lot to give, and I don't see him retiring right away. So maybe a couple years down the road, but I don't think it's far off, but it's not going to happen this year. So other than that, my dirt rant is over, unless anybody has any questions, concerns, or comments, stupid or otherwise.
I do have a few NASCAR tidbits that I need to clean up. There is reports that NASCAR has filed for possibly a settlement, so it's very possible that this NASCAR case will be coming to an end very possibly as soon as this week. I'm seeing some reports. I also see that NASCAR has put out a ton of new little series. They've got the new NASCAR Creator Series. I guess it's going to come out for the new NASCAR 25 game. They're going to do some sort of series with that. I've seen a bunch of different series with like Carson Hocevar and Corey Heim and Raja Caruth. I've seen a few different little shorts from NASCAR's media department. So there is some interesting stuff out there. I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to put on for this off season. I have seen that if you don't have Tubi yet, they are going to put the NASCAR Awards Banquet on Tuesday. I believe that is at 6:45 on Tuesday following the Phoenix race next week. So if you don't have a Tubi account, I would recommend going to create one. That way you can watch the NASCAR awards ceremony on November 4th. I believe it was 6:45. I believe the commercial said.
I don't
So
think you
there's
even need
definitely
an
a little bit
account.
here and there. I created one just so I could get it on my TV, but it's just one of those app things. That's all I did. But I've noticed there's a few things here and there that are kind of interesting. There's definitely the NASCAR settlements, which have been going on for how many months? I know that Front Row and 2311 are so persistent on they're going to make NASCAR pay for everything that's going on. So I don't know what's going on with it yet. I'm hoping that we don't have to have this problem. But also, I've seen that NASCAR or NBC Sports Network is coming back next year, so that'll be kind of good to see them have their own little channel and whatnot. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm excited for. That this is the last year for this bullshit points playoff system.
See, I just kind
But
of wish we knew what next year's point system was. And
I
the
am
only
glad
that
to see this go. It is about time that they listen to the fans and give us something that we want. After 10 years of this crap, we're finally going to put some changes in place.
Now, the only thing they need to change on my end, and I really wish they would do this for next year, is put the CW on something you can watch on your mobile phone, though. You don't have to be sitting at home to watch it. That drives me nuts. I understand you can get a Roku, but how do I plug a Roku into my phone so I can stream it while I'm doing stuff?
You
If I'm not
download,
home or at a wedding, how do I watch the Xfinity race? How does that work?
you go to whatever app store you have for your phone manufacturer, and you
You
download
would think it would go
CW.
through but you would think it would go through the CW app. No, that only does live, practice, and qualifying. You can't watch live sports. You have to watch it the day later, which is right in the middle of the Cup race. Why does that make any sense?
But I'm going to give my key takeaways before we shut it down, Nathan. So,
Alrighty.
my takeaways are William Byron actually delivered a dominant clutch performance at Martinsville, leading over 300 laps and winning the race to actually lock himself into the final four for the Cup Series. Both Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe, who were already locked into the championship four, suffered engine failures at Martinsville, and that raises serious reliability concerns heading into Phoenix. And heartbreak and heroics, well, the lower series, the fight for the final playoff spots came down to the wire. Carson Kvapil overcame a late spin to advance by just 4 points, mind you, while Caden Honeycutt advanced in the Truck Series on a tiebreaker after a career best second place finish. On the dirt side, well, obviously Rico is crowned as the new high limit king and winning a outstanding 13 races, which earned him a $250,000 bonus. And we saw a major generational shift with the two key announcements of 21-year-old Daison Pursley replacing Brad Sweet and Spencer Bayston getting a second chance in a top tier ride with Stenhouse Jr. Marshall for next season. So, in conclusion, well, this extraordinary week in late October has actually perfectly set the stage for the series of thrilling championship conclusions. So in NASCAR, the fields are set for a winner-take-all weekend, right out west of Phoenix. And the central question for the Cup Series will actually be whether Joe Gibbs Racing can overcome its sudden, alarming reliability issues, and if they can challenge the powerhouse Hendrick Motorsports duo. And in the other series, the compelling narratives abound, from the underdog Caden Honeycutt's improbable run to finish where he did and move on in the Truck Series, to the 3-on-1 battle facing Jesse Love in the Xfinity Series. So from the short tracks of Virginia to the dirt ovals of Texas, the message was actually clear. The fight for the championship is on, and nothing will be decided until the final checkered flag falls. So, any last words from you, Nathan?
I don't got any.
All right, man.
I'm
Well,
just ready for championship weekend. Let's get this.
well, that's going to do it for this episode. But remember, we bring you professional breakdowns, race recaps, and all those insane adrenaline-packed motorsports moments every single week. Whether you live for those sideways mudslinging dirt track slide jobs or the door banging paint trading action of NASCAR, you belong right here. Hit that subscribe button now so you never miss a finish. And until next time, keep switching grooves. I'm Russ Fritz,
And I'm Nathan Johns.
and we're telling you to race hard,
Stay safe.
and we'll see you there. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night. Good night, everybody.